We're joined today by Otto Voit. He's a Republican candidate for state treasurer. Why did you decide to seek this office?
Well, Francine, thanks to you and to PCN for having me on the show. It's a great opportunity to help get the message out of what the treasurer does and the importance in the role. I decided to run. I'm not a politician. I've been on our local school board for 17 years. But last year I got a calling into public service, and I found myself yelling at the TV like many people all across Pennsylvania have been doing. And I just got sick and tired of the status quo, sick and tired of the culture of corruption, and sick and tired of hearing all of the problems that we have in Pennsylvania. Said, you know what, I'm going to go do something about it. So March of 2015 I decided to run, and ever since I've been running full-time. I left my job, so I'm betting the farm on this campaign because I truly want to make a difference in the lives of every single Pennsylvanian all across this state.
Tell us a little bit about your background. What relevant experience do you have that you think has prepared you for this role?
Been a chief financial officer of an Inc. 500 company, chief financial officer partner in a software company, chief financial officer and subsequently president of an international dental and cosmetics manufacturing company. I've been on our local school board for 17 years, so I've learned how to play well with others to get done what needs to be done. Not that one needs to compromise their principles, but how to get things done to move the ball forward. I'm a member of the Institute of Management Accountants. Went to Penn State. And my master's is from St. Joe's University.
Tell us a little bit more specifically, your most recent role as president of the Keystone Dental Group. What did you do there?
When I started with the company 19 years ago after we had sold the software company. And in one of the divisions, there was a turnaround. So the idea is, how do you turn around a company, save jobs, and ultimately grow the company without really hosing anybody, not hosing vendors, and how do you navigate the waters the right way and keep the company, and it was right here in Pennsylvania in Myerstown, how do you keep it there? So I did that and went on to become president of the company. We were international, so we had to deal with international currency. So when Trump talks about China manipulating its currency, I have firsthand experience in knowing what that does to a business. It makes our exports more expensive and their imports to the country less expensive. I've had to hire people and regrettably fire people, be responsible for the business as it grows. And been able to do that, I guess my best part in that company was earning the respect of the employees. Because unless you work together, it's not, even though I'm a former military officer and Desert Storm veteran, it's not a, do this, do this, do this. Because the people who are on the factory floor or doing the job every single day know best how to make the company better. And that's what I've been able to do, and listen to them, walk the factory floor every day to understand their concerns and issues. And it's the same thing that I've been able to translate into this campaign. Walk the streets in every corner of Pennsylvania to hear what people are really saying, and not what the media is telling us, but what are the true people who are on the streets and their issues and problems every single day.
Let's talk a little bit more about the specific seat that you are seeking, and that is state treasurer. For those not familiar, yes, what are the main duties and roles in that office?
There's three primary constitutional duties. One, the treasurer has to safeguard the assets of the state. There's about $105 billion in assets, which is $20 billion of which specifically the treasurer invests, roughly 85 billion in pension funds, and there's a myriad of other funds as well. So you need to safeguard those. Second is to invest them properly. And third is to pay the bills. And in each category that I mentioned, though, there's been a problem for years that 5 of the last 6 treasurers, elected treasurers, have gone on to seek higher office. The one who didn't, regrettably, cut his life short. So they really didn't care about being treasurer. They cared about it being a stepping stone. 3 of the last 6 treasurers elected to treasurers have been indicted. The current treasurer last year in a budget impasse made unconstitutional and illegal payments. The treasurer gets his authority to pay bills when the legislature and the governor sign a budget along with a fiscal code. And, you know, there's some exceptions for health, safety, and welfare, but that has been grossly abused. So which is why we need an independent treasurer, which the office is supposed to be. And in this particular year, we need a treasurer of the opposite party of the governor. The governor is Democrat, I'm Republican. Not that we're going to butt heads, but you need to ensure that there's checks and balances, the culture of corruption that's going on in that office ends, the status quo ends, which will end on day one. With regard to investing, that's not being done well because our pension funds have been returning, let's say, approximately 3%. Well, that escalates the unfunded liability of our pensions, which the media states at about $60 billion. At the current rate of return, and this number is astonishing, Francine, it's $175 billion. So the time now is for action. This is why I'm running. Here are the problems. Last year there was a $400 million overpayment, made by the treasurer. How does that happen? Did we get the money back? How much did it cost us? Nobody knows. So I'm bringing integrity to this office to clean it up. Second, accountability and transparency in my pacheckbook.com plan, which we'll talk about.
Can you explain what that is
Sure.
for those that may not have seen your website yet?
Sure. Everybody has a right to know everything that goes on in the government, without exception. Now, if you're talking about national security, but certainly the Treasury doesn't deal in national security issues. So, you know, a lot of what goes on in Pennsylvania is not of a national security issue. So every single revenue, that's coming into the state, and my pacheckbook.com will show this in easy-to-use and understandable format. Where are all the revenues coming from? Where are all the expenses going? What are the contracts of the state? And what are the salaries of the state? The expenses will include any fees that we're paying to pension fund investment advisors. Also, the Turnpike Commission, which we learned in the last month is going broke. And so if we had accountability and transparency, all of this, we wouldn't wait. We don't have to wait until there's a crisis to deal with these issues. So we're in a crisis mode in a lot of areas, and my website will rocket us from 29th in accountability among all the states to #1, and we'll be in a tie with Ohio. But I think we can do a little better job here in Pennsylvania, so I think we can beat Ohio for the crown of accountability and transparency. And one more step. After I do that for Harrisburg, then I'm going to go county to county. And ultimately it'll save county money because they need to press a button. And I mean it this simply. Press a button, the data is uploaded to the Treasury, everybody can see what's going on in the county. Ultimately, townships and school boards can all be on this website. And it has to be run, in my opinion, by the Treasury because it's an independently elected office. It can't be run by the governor or anybody in the administration because what happened last year in Penn Watch, they decided not to put any information up.